You're making dinner, and instead of pulling out a bland jar of dried herbs from your pantry, you clip fresh, aromatic basil or rosemary right from your kitchen window. Sounds incredible, right? Well, today I'm showing you how to make that vision a year-round reality, no matter the weather in Zone 7. Let me tell you, when I first started growing herbs, I thought it would be easy. Turns out, my first basil plant didn't quite get the message about survival. But after some experimenting, learning from mistakes, and watching plenty of YouTube tutorials, I figured out how to keep my herbs healthy even during winter. And you can do it too! So whether you're just beginning with gardening or simply want access to fresh herbs all year long, stick around. I'll guide you through the easiest herbs to grow, share tips for keeping them thriving indoors or outdoors, and reveal some practical tricks to make the process stress-free. 1. Basil. Basil is a great herb. It's handy, smells amazing, and just having it nearby makes you feel like a kitchen expert. But honestly, basil has a bit of an attitude. It's picky and needs plenty of care to thrive. You can't just ignore it and expect it to grow. Basil needs your attention. When I first tried growing basil, I assumed watering it daily was enough. It wasn't. The leaves started drooping and I had no idea why. Turns out, basil loves sunlight. It craves it the way we crave coffee in the morning. If you put it in a sunny spot like a windowsill, it'll thrive and grow beautifully. For basil, sunshine is pure bliss. Make sure to use good soil that drains well. A medium-sized pot works best since basil likes some room but not too much. It needs about 6 hours of sunlight a day, so a south-facing window is perfect. When it comes to watering, check the topsoil. Water only when it feels dry. Too much water can cause trouble. Its leaves might turn yellow, as if to say, "Enough water already?" If that happens, let the soil dry out and trim the yellow leaves. Oh, and one time I thought keeping my basil in the bathroom was a clever idea. I figured it'd love the moisture from the shower. Big mistake. Steam isn't sunlight, and basil was not happy. Lesson learned? 2. Rosemary. Rosemary is like that friend who always looks polished but surprises you with how naturally low maintenance they really are. It's an herb that thrives on being left to its own devices, making it perfect for forgetful plant enthusiasts like me. I remember one time I completely neglected to water my rosemary plant for what seemed like ages. I was certain it was done for, but to my relief, it was still standing tall, healthy, and thriving. That's when it clicked. Rosemary isn't just an herb, it's my plant soulmate. If you want your rosemary to stay healthy, using a clay pot is an excellent choice. The natural drainage helps prevent overwatering, which is a common pitfall for many plants. Speaking of water, rosemary prefers its soil to stay on the dry side. Instead of sticking to a strict watering routine, just give it a little hydration when the soil feels completely dry. When winter rolls around, finding the right spot becomes crucial. Pick a cool location with indirect sunlight to keep your rosemary comfortable. Notice any moldy leaves? Don't worry. That usually means the air circulation needs a boost. Simply trim the affected leaves and move the plant to a spot with better airflow. Problem solved! Honestly, if plants had personalities, I imagine my rosemary would be the calm, wise one of the bunch, gently advising my demanding basil to be more resilient. It's the type of plant that boosts your confidence, even if you're just winging it. That's why I'm so fond of it. It's dependable, adaptable, and brimming with charm. 3. Mint. Mint is like the superstar of the herb world, a total overachiever. It's so incredibly easy to grow that you'll probably end up with more than you know what to do with. Seriously, plant it once, and it feels like it's on a mission to conquer your whole garden. I made that mistake once. I Planted mint directly into my garden bed, thinking it'd stay neatly in its little corner. Guess what? It didn't. It spread so fast it felt like it was everywhere overnight. After that, I learned my lesson. Now, I always keep it in pots to make sure it stays under control and doesn't take over like an overly assertive roommate who doesn't respect boundaries. If you're gonna grow mint, here's a tip. Use a wide, shallow pot because mint loves to spread. Trust me, if you don't contain it, it'll happily sprawl out wherever it wants. Place the pot in partial sunlight. The good news is that mint isn't as picky about light as, say, basil, so you've got some flexibility there. Water it regularly, but make sure the soil doesn't get too wet. Mint likes consistency, but it doesn't want to drown. Also, keep an eye out for something called mint rust, which looks like orange spots on the leaves. If you see that, don't worry. Just remove the affected leaves and make sure there's good air circulation around the plant. Honestly, mint is the only plant I've ever had to put on timeout because of how wild it gets. It's energetic, almost too much so, but if you keep it in check, it's an amazing herb to grow and use in your kitchen. Now here's the part that amazed me. You don't need expensive gadgets or fancy grow lights to keep your herbs thriving in zone 7 year round. And when I say this works perfectly, trust me, I mean it. Let me share my simple trick with you. All you need to do during the colder months is move your herbs into a sunny, draft-free spot in your home. That could be near a window that gets plenty of daylight. But what about those days when the sun isn't shining? That's where the real magic happens. Grab an old desk lamp and switch out the bulb for a daylight LED one. Yep, that's it. It's an affordable solution that works just as well as those expensive grow lights everyone talks about. Seriously, you'll be surprised by how well it works, and your herbs will thank you for it. Let me ask, what's your biggest herb growing challenge? We all have one, so don't be shy. Drop it in the comments below, and I'll do my best to help you solve it. Is it pests? Overwatering? Lack of sunlight? Whatever it is, we can figure it out together. Also, I'm curious, what's your favorite herb to grow? I'm solidly team rosemary, low maintenance, and smells great. But I'm always open to trying new herbs, so feel free to make your case for a favorite. Who knows? You might convince me to try something new. Alright, let's quickly go over some herb basics, just in case you're new here or maybe you need a little refresher. First, basil loves the sun, but it doesn't do well with too much water, so water carefully. Rosemary? Oh, it's the best friend you didn't know you needed. It's tough, easy to care for, and a great choice if you don't have a lot of time to spend in the garden. And mint! Let's not forget about mint. Here's the deal with mint. Give it its own pot. Seriously, unless you want it taking over your whole garden, and trust me, it will. Keep it contained. See? With a sunny spot, the right kind of soil, and a little love, you're already on your way to a thriving herb garden. If you found these tips helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more gardening tips and beginner-friendly advice. And if you're feeling ready to take your herb game to the next level, you're in for a treat. Check out my video on DIY herb drying techniques. It's linked right here. Saving your harvest is a game changer, and it's easier than you think. Let's keep those gardens green and growing together. Remember, gardening isn't about getting everything perfect on the first try. It's a journey of progress, learning, and yes, making a few mistakes along the way. Don't get discouraged if you kill a plant or 2 or 10. It's all part of the process, and trust me, if I can do it, so can you. Keep growing, keep learning, and most importantly, don't give up. You've got this.